Welcome to the 2024 Nightcap, the inaugural, well, I shouldn't say inaugural, I should say the start of the first Nightcap of the 2024-2025 season. I am your host, Joe Soro, aka Ox 1947. Tonight, the Lakers played the Minnesota Timberwolves in Palm Springs at the Acrisure Arena. Some of you probably didn't know how to pronounce that, and it's not your fault. It's probably one of the dumbest names you can have on an arena or a stadium. I know this because I'm a Steeler fan, and their dumbasses changed their great name, Heinz Field, a few years back to Acrisure Stadium. Yes. Palm Springs, on the other hand, is a fun place to be, just not during the summer. And the fans over there got a little taste of what Laker basketball has been for the last few years, and that is come out slow, unenthusiastic, then in the middle parts of the game start to come back, start to show some fire, start to maybe make us believe that they're going to come out and do their thing, and then all of a sudden fall apart in the end. And right now we are looking at a final score of 124-107. And for the pundits out there and for some of the fans out there, we're probably getting the same rhetoric that we've been hearing for a very long time. And that is, it's the first preseason game. It doesn't matter. And I knew that the Lakers didn't think it mattered because they were pretty competitive towards the end there. And they had a chance to possibly win the game. But instead, they decided to put in Bronny James so he can get some run, maybe score a basket. Because up until the last, I think, couple minutes, he hadn't scored a point yet. And as soon as he got into the game, all of a sudden you blinked and the Lakers were down 12. So how can I say this any simpler? The Lakers look exactly like they've looked for the last couple of years. I'm curious to see if this is exactly what we're going to be watching the rest of the year. And I'm not. I haven't been really happy for a while since the draft, and I was excited. I was on Lakers ball just during the game. I was at a football game too, watching on my phone and conversing and getting excited when Dalton Connect was connecting on a lot of his shots, which to me was probably the bright spot of tonight. Dalton looked like a seasoned vet, and we know that a lot of the players Minnesota was sending out there weren't like the starters, but that's irrelevant considering Dalton Connect is a rookie, and he is already showing that he belongs in the NBA, and that's to no surprise. So we're looking at Dalton Connect tonight, even though his plus minus was not too good. He played 24 minutes and dropped 16 points on 7 of 13 shooting. And he had a lot of energy. And, he had a lot of turnovers, but that's par for the course when you're a rookie and you're trying to get acclimated to the NBA game. His aggressiveness, his confidence, his shooting stroke, all those things look great. So in terms of the positives tonight, I'm excited to watch Dalton play, and we will probably continue to enjoy watching him play. So that's encouraging. As far as guys that we haven't seen in a while, guys like JHS, I think Maxwell Lewis played for a few minutes, and that wasn't too good. D'Angelo Russell, not a bad game. Austin Reeves, I'd say Max Christie had an okay game. He played 34 minutes, scored 11 points. That's an interesting stat line. 34 minutes is probably what the Lakers need to have a good rotation. They need somebody to come off the bench to give certain guards or forwards whichever area he can play, because he's kind of a tweener. And can he produce, let's say, just at least 30 minutes a game? That could set up a lot of rest for guys like Rui, guys like LeBron, guys like D'Angelo Russell. But I don't know. I haven't really gotten an idea of how that's going to play out. And he scored 11 points, had 7 rebounds. He looked good. He looked good considering the situation. So I'll pat him on the back on that. And in the meantime, we'll try to figure out Uh, we'll try to figure out what the assessment on him is as the season progresses. So, Mr. Lakers Corner, it's been what, 5 months now that I've seen you? I haven't seen you in 5 months.
Come on now, Joe. Come on now, Joe.
Going.
Off season, dry period, and you know what you do in a dry period? You do other things. You do side hobbies, right? So that you get ready for the on season of
Okay.
being there every game. Talk to me,
What the hell is a side hobby?
a side hobby, like kind of what I do for an income,
So it's a side gig.
a side gig, but what I do
Okay,
for
let
an
me ask you
income.
this, because I hear this term a lot, but you kind of phrased it differently. How many side things do you have, and do you have any front things? Because a side gig isn't a side gig unless there's a front and a back.
I'm the front and the back
Oh, so it's your main side front.
thing.
I'll roll with you on that one. It's okay. Did you, by the way, did you get a tan in reverse? You look
What is
much
that?
lighter. Are you,
A
I'm
lot. I
assuming,
mean,
is your
I work
side
from
gig
home.
keeping you indoors?
Yes, I was gonna say I work from home every day. It's a remote, so yes, there's a good chance that my side gig is keeping me indoors.
Okay,
But I had to
good,
I had to lock in on that, Joe, because you know what, Joe, that the side gig is what's keeping this whole shebang here going,
good.
and
As long as it's producing electricity and gas and cleaning
helping
products and roofs overheads.
helping feed a life.
Good,
Yes,
good. That's good. Good,
Fo-
good.
foods on foods on plates for
That's good.
kids.
That's good. Good for you, John. Keep up the good work. Keep up them side dishes, man, because those side dishes can be good.
But
So,
but hold on though, Joe. But
yeah,
hold
go
on,
ahead. Sorry.
because at the end of the day, though, those side dishes are there. But now Lakers basketball's here, so now I'm here. Okay, so all that was happening, that's a dryness. I had to take care of the side dish. But this right here is now the main dish. I'm about to eat this like, let me see, like, yeah, what's that one dude who has like the hot dog eating contest? Like he like eats like all those hot dogs hella fast.
What was his name? The one that the guy that won like 12 years in a row. What's it? Chestnut?
Yeah, that
Joey
guy, right?
Chestnut.
Freaking chestnut, Joe. Joe, I'm about to eat this season up like chestnut. So
Okay.
for everybody out here, just know, okay, get with Lakers fast break, get with Lakers corner, because we about to kill this season. I'm excited to be here, Joe.
Okay, so I want you to give me a little bit of a synopsis on what your thoughts on tonight's game was. So I was watching the game at a football game, then
Okay.
in the car, then while I was getting dinner, then when I got back home and try to simultaneously talk to people on playback and on the phone and on TV while I'm eating, while I'm drinking, and
It's a tough
the
one.
the part that really sucked was there was a moment in the fourth quarter where the Lakers almost decided that they didn't want to win the game. And I want to know something. I want to know why do I feel like I'm the only person on the planet that gives a shit? Tell me, answer that question for me.
Why you're only
Why
person on
do
the
I feel
planet?
like I'm the only one who cares about winning? It- because the excuse and the retorts are the same. It's a preseason game, it doesn't matter. It does matter because you keep creating the same habits. You don't come out. You don't come out with any fire or any desire. Then you get lathered. Then you start coming back, and then in the end, and when you're even coming back, you're not shutting down your opponent when you need to. Every time you get close, you allow them to shoot a three. You allow them to get to the basket. At what point does this habit go away? You're not going to have Darvin Ham to blame this time. This time you have a coach who snipes at everything. And sniping is one thing when you haven't done anything. It's going to be a lot worse when you go through a 3 or 4 game losing streak. And
Joe,
are the Lakers organization going to clear out every media person that doesn't ask JJ Redick the question he wants to be asked? And
Joe,
are we going to have to continue to listen to the same talking heads say the same stuff? Because that's all these guys do. Because they're not really watching the games. We are. And that's where I'm at right now. I was encouraged by a few individuals who played very well, but it's not good enough. They're not winning. This is a team sport, and I haven't seen any urgency in years here in terms of winning anything. It's frustrating.
Joe, I'm so happy you said that. And before I get to that, let me acknowledge everybody in the chat that said what's up to me when I got here. I'm sorry, you guys. I was just so excited to be here. I was just talking to Joe, having such a good time. But I just saw the chat. I just opened it up now. What's going on, everybody? All my family. Appreciate you guys supporting. Please go show love to my channel, Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. So thanks to everybody here in the chat. But Joe, you know what? You know why I freaking appreciate and love you so much, Joe. You know, because you are similar to me. Okay, Henry, chill, chill. I am not a glizzy gobbler. I am a Lakers gobbler.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, Joe. You know what?
What's glizzy?
So a glizzy is supposed to be a hot dog, but I think it's they try to.
Okay.
You know,
Hold on. Let me put a break there. Why is it called a glizzy?
a hot dog? I don't know. That's a good question. Why is a glizzy called a hot dog?
Because I've
Why is a hot
heard,
dog? Yeah.
I know what Rizzy is. I know what Riz is, but I don't know what a glizz is.
Yeah. And
I usually use the word that starts with a J whenever I throw a joke in there. That's my generation. So
yeah, that is it right there.
Jay,
But look,
I'm Gen Z, so why do I not know this word? Go ahead, John.
but look, this is what I'll say, Joe. I love and appreciate you because you're very similar to me. I'm a big believer, Joe, that like how you do the little things is how you're gonna do the big things. How you handle a little bit of money is how you're gonna handle a lot of bit of money. Like you're not just gonna change all of a sudden. And for the fact that like if we do little bad habits here in these preseason games, yeah, it's not the end of the world. I totally agree, but we got to nip that kind of stuff in the bud early. Granted, first preseason game, I wanted to just go out there and just see what they could do. I know Bronny probably was feeling so nervous, insanely nervous. Um, but what I will say is that that really threw me off how Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner commented.
It's okay.
But
It's okay. That happens. Get you.
yeah,
You got to train yourself to
I got to
be able
issue
to
it.
come back and talk about what we were supposed to talk about.
Boom, just like that. And I'm back, right? And anyway, like I was saying, Joe, um, the way we do the little things is going to be the way we do the big things. So that's why I generally believe that it's not the end of the world, but it's things that need to be taken serious. And it's good that we got Bronny a game under his belt. And one thing I do want to say that I did notice in the game that I was really, really happy about is I was like, watch, JJ Redick is going to use Dalton Connect like the way JJ Redick wished he would have got used his entire career. Because Dalton Connect is kind of what JJ Redick was, like a 6'4" guard who can, shoot the ball. Dalton Connect looks like he has a little bit longer of a wingspan, maybe a little bit better defender. But ultimately, I'm saying like I saw Dalton Connect run off so many like down screens, like an elevator screen, just all these different plays and sets ran directly for Dalton Connect. And honestly, I was happy to see it because I think it's gonna be a great option come season.
So, for those of you who've chimed in and didn't watch the game tonight, the Lakers go down in a ball of flame, 124-107. It was a battle. It was a battle of three phases. It was the first phase of getting blown out, to the middle phase, coming back, and then again getting blown out in the end. And it's par for the course at this point for the Lakers. They just don't seem to have built any kind of sense of urgency in any time of the year or any time of anything. And you're sitting there as an observer, and I'm going back and forth. And I know that down the line, as more and more fans, more and more observers and viewers look at our rhetoric, listen to our voices and our inflictions and our just, at least I know for me, there's not going to be a comfortable feeling there because it's not very positive and it's not very encouraging. But understand it comes from things like this. And I'm cheering for this team to win. If you ever thought that I wasn't, then you obviously don't know what's going on. I want to be wrong so bad, but in my life, it's rarely that I'm wrong because I'm not going to be passionate about something unless I know for sure. I'm not going to sit here and yap about something, yelling and screaming and getting angry and getting frustrated if it was because I just feel like I'm having a bad day. I don't have bad days. I react. I'll react at 11 o'clock at night from something, and then I might not react to something for 3 weeks, 3 months. I might react to something every day for a week. Right now, the Lakers have been showing the same story. And we've had how many different ingredients in this thing, whether JHS is available or not, whether Dalton connects on the team or not, whether D'Angelo's hitting his shots or not, whether Rui's hitting his shots or not, whether Gabe Vincent is going to be healthy enough or not. We're still doing the same things here after how long? You guys tell me. You can sit there and you can talk about it's just a preseason game, but you said this all last year. You said this all the year before. It's always the same response. When are we going to get away from this? When are we going to see a team go, we know this is a prep game, but I want us to start creating a mental focus in winning. I want everyone to focus on winning. Win. It creates, even in something that doesn't matter. How many times did you hear in a lot of these championship teams, man, the practices were better than the games? Does a practice mean anything, folks? When you hear about the Dream Team in 1992, what did they say? They said the games in the gym when they were practicing were the greatest games they ever played. Hell, when Michael Jordan was doing Space Jam, when they were playing at Warner Brothers, Reggie Miller's quoted saying he played some of the best basketball with those guys. The Juwan Howards, the rookies that came in that year with Michael, with Reggie, and all those guys. It matters, folks, because what you do in practice and prep, you're going to use when the real game starts. And I'm trying to nail this into your heads. This doesn't get talked enough about. All you hear in the mainstream sports world is yapping, yelling, but with no substance. It's always, well, LeBron doesn't care, and LeBron is this, and LeBron is that. Okay, why does LeBron not care? Why is LeBron the way he is? Why is Anthony Davis not playing MVP ball when he's getting every opportunity to do so? Explain it. Or are you tired of explaining the same thing? I am. But if you're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, I guess I got to keep telling the same thing over and over again because that's what I'm watching. And I'm watching the tail end of this thing, and Bronny scores, and the whole place erupts. And I get a chime from ESPN that he scored. Folks, you suck.
That was wild.
You guys suck. You are promoting garbage.
Garbage.
Bronny James cannot play in the league. The second they put him in, when they were, I think they were only down like 4 or 6 points, they completely collapsed. He cannot play. He is not an NBA player. He can play the next 50,000 games. He will never play in the NBA unless his daddy gets him in there, which he has.
Damn, Joe. Damn.
It's not a joke anymore. This is embarrassing. They were competing. Why did they put him in there? Why? I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to I got more energy and I got more forthright in this. It's going to matter. It's going to matter. I want it ingrained in everyone's brain because it's what it is. I don't know who these people are. I don't care until it starts affecting the game. And it is. It's affecting the game a lot. It's embarrassing. Especially when you've been a Laker fan for 33 years and you've watched 6 world championships. Yes, Pop, world championships. Okay? The NBA is the #1 league in the world. That means world champions.
Tell them.
Okay?
Tell them.
At what point is it going to stop? Well, am I going to bitch out? And, I'm going to stop watching. I'm tired of this and the league sucks. Yeah, league does suck. Yeah, players do suck. The setup is suck. But how am I going to – how are you going to improve it? By running away. And this is where we're at. It's the same. We've been talking about this since last year and the year before. We saw the absolute debacle of an offseason. And then what is the first game? What is the first thing you see in game 1? The same exact results. Quarter by quarter, game all the way through. So now what? Where do we go? Guys, I have drinks because I want to have a drink. I don't need a drink. I don't need to calm down. I calm down like this. The second this thing goes off air, I go walk into the room over there. I sit down, and I'm calm. I can turn it off like this.
Control, like ladies and gentlemen.
It's like this, okay? I don't need alcohol. I don't need dope. I don't need cigarettes. I don't need any of that shit. That's probably why I can be relentless, because that stuff's all for weak people. That's weakness. Weakness doesn't work with me. I want ballers. I want results. Results means winning. If winning doesn't matter for you and you want this, we are the world fucking hand-holding bullshit. Oh, he's playing with family and they're all gathering in a picnic. Then you ain't gonna win shit. Hey, I didn't want to talk about this asshole, but is it Markin? I had one of my boys hit me up about 3 weeks ago. And he goes, man, you were right about Diddy. I go, right about Diddy? I go, how could it be? Could it not be any more obvious that this mouth-breathing, abusing piece of shit finally got blown out here? Did you guys see this 20 years ago?
That's crazy.
Come on, man. You guys got to be more observant, man. I was calling this before anyone was really in it. And I'm not even talking about the whole Biggie and Tupac thing. I don't give a damn about that. I'm talking about every time I saw that motherfucker just breathing, I'm like, this fucker is doing some shady shit. I don't like this guy. I don't like his face. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he looks. I go, this guy is dirty. And I'm not talking about dirty like skanky dirty. I'm talking about this guy has some shit in his bag. And y'all saw the last 3 weeks what happened.
Well, you know what?
Bring back the crew. Bring back the positive. That when Gerald told me you were coming in, I knew right away. Yes. Right away. I was gonna come out with the curves and the change-ups, and now Johnny Boy Lakers Corner is gonna come in and he's gonna bring them some positivity. He's gonna bring in some hope. Take it to him, Johnny. Give him a little bit of hope here. Give him a little positivity.
Positivity, hope. Jalen Hood-Schifino. That's probably the best basketball I've seen him play in the last 2 years of his life, to be honest. So that's some positivity. That's some hope. Jalen Hood-Schifino is one of those guys that I'm extremely down on, similar to how I felt about THT, Taylor Horton Tucker. I remember a couple people. My brother. I ain't gonna lie, my brother. You were wrong on this one. He thought THT was next up. I was like, I just don't see it in him. I just don't see it in him. And that's the same way I feel about JHS. Just do not see it in him. He's supposed to be a point guard, right? And I feel like there's nothing that he does exceptionally well, in my opinion. Handles the ball mediocrely, passes mediocrely, shoots mediocrely, and we're not to the point where right now we need a mediocre young player, maybe a mediocre vet who's found his way in his league, but a mediocre young player who's trying to find his way. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. So that I mean, good basketball, but I'd love to see it continue. Let's see. I'm not a believer in it. Would love to know if the chat is a believer in it. And Joe, would love to know if you're a believer. Like, you think Jalen Hoods-Confino is going to freaking turn his corner and actually turn into something?
No.
No, me too. I'm happy we're on the same page.
No, he's
I'm happy
not.
we're on the same page. He's not that guy.
If you want to get to the heart of everything, most of the positive parts of the game was when you had three starters playing at some point, which is Rui, Austin, and D'Angelo, with Connect and then Jackson Hayes. You had those guys coming back and competing with guys that are not going to be playing a lot for Minnesota. You have to factor that in. Go back. For those of you who recorded the game, go watch the lineups. They weren't playing against Conley and they weren't playing against Ant. You can say, oh, well, then LeBron, and I already know what the retort there is. They go, oh, LeBron and AD didn't play. No. Listen to what I'm saying. You had three of your starters and one of your main backups this year playing against bench guys from Minnesota. And the fact that Minnesota came all the way from Minnesota to play in Palm Springs, and they looked like they were more fresh. For those who don't know, the drive to Palm Springs isn't that far from LA. So now you have this team that's in the Mid-East. I don't know why they call that area the Midwest. To me, it's the Mid-East. Mid-East, flying all the way west to come play in hot-ass Palm Springs. Still a nice place, but it's hot right now here. And you got LA, and you got all these guys that should be ready to go, looking like they were the ones that came from Minneapolis. And it's just a matter of time before things start to sink in. It's just a matter of time. We're going to find out probably in mid-December where this team is going to be. And I know that most people think that JJ Redick is going to be an upgrade in coaching. But the problem is they're thinking in reverse. They're thinking, oh, well, we're just going to enhance the coach, which is what they did. And we'll win 5 more games this year versus last year. Well, last year is very different than this year, folks. The West got tougher, if you can believe it. The other thing is you cannot guarantee that LeBron and AD are going to play 76 and 71 games again. Because if one of those guys is out for 2 or 3 weeks, bye-bye playoffs. Oh, the other thing is AD going to play 40 minutes a game this year? Because right now, only Jackson Hayes is the backup. Castleton is not ready. He might never be ready. He showed a little bit the last few years. He has the want, and that's another thing I want everyone to focus on. There were times during this game, there were stretches during this game where you could see Max Christie and JHS and all these guys trying hard to get to where they wanted to go, and they couldn't. I saw a documentary, and I don't know how the hell we didn't know about this until I don't know how the hell I didn't know about this till yesterday. And I watched it. It's the story about Kobe Bryant's 81-point game. It's called The Legacy of Kobe's 81-point game. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
And the commentary on there is commentary that I've heard before, where Kobe was not the best best with hops, the fastest, the best ball handler, the best shooter. I keep hearing this from people. And I started asking myself the question because I watched Kobe Bryant play all 20 years. I saw him put his literal nuts paws on Dwight Howard's head in Orlando. I'm talking elbow to the rim, nuts to the neck and head. Okay, if that's not freakish, elite athleticism, then what is? I think a lot of people hear stuff or they compare, well, Kobe doesn't jump as high as Vince Carter. Who has?
Man.
Who? Who's jumped higher than Vince Carter? Okay. Well, he doesn't handle the ball well as Kyrie Irving. Who has? You're asking. We just said two guys that arguably are the greatest ball handler and the greatest jumper of all time. But that's a scale that's probably on the top. The scale that just drops one thing is still elite. That's just double elite. That's like saying, well, LaDainian Tomlinson was fast, but he wasn't Bo Jackson fast. Okay, who was? so when I heard that quote, I don't know why it hit me the other day when I watched it, but I'm like, you guys are out of your damn mind. Kobe was freakish. He was a freak athlete. I saw him go from one part of the paint, the beginning paint on the sidelines, turn under and dunk the ball in Minnesota. And then he did it in New York.
Come on now.
What like? So the point of the story is we're asking these guys to play hard and to focus and to do all that. That's great. JHS did that. Max Christie did that. But they were a step too slow.
Step too slow.
It's not their fault. They're not capable of doing that.
Max Christie. Joe, I'm so happy we're on the same page about him because, like, I'll never forget, Joe. I'm gonna be honest. On my Lakers Corner page, I had put up a short about Max Christie talking about how he's not an NBA player. He's just not ready for the NBA ready. He's just not NBA ready yet. And then some random or what I'm saying, some dude probably in like Nebraska, like in like a studio apartment or something like that, commented and was like, "Oh, he's NBA ready. Like you don't know what you're talking about." And then I'll never forget it. I got the notification. It said Joe Soro or your OX the 99 or whatever your at name is, and then you were just in there like, just watch, buddy. Soon enough, you'll see this guy is not an NBA player. And I hope that wherever that dude is in Nebraska, wherever that guy is, that he remembers that moment because this guy right here, Max Christie. I hope that everyone is starting to see what me and Joe have been saying about this guy for a long time. He just is not. I just don't think he's league ready. To be honest with you, I don't think he's been league ready. And I think he's been taking up a roster spot for some time. That's been my take on him for a long time. But as far as like Jalen Scafino, yeah, I just don't think. Yeah, I don't think he's going to pan out on our team. Like I said, but I mean everything else, I feel like it's a given. Bronny shouldn't be there, but he's going to be there. He's going to be there, and I feel like I'm gonna be honest, Joe. And I know you're not gonna like this one. I know you're not gonna like this one, but I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna keep it real, Joe. I'm gonna tell it from the heart. And I gotta say, I gotta say, I don't think it's that big of a deal that Bronny's on this team because of LeBron, because there's so much more nepotism that goes on in this NBA that like this is minuscule. This is tiny compared. Like I I talked about this on my Lakers Corner page some time ago. Okay, I said uh, Travis Slink. That's his name. Okay, Travis Slink. He used to be basketball operations for the Hawks. he was the one that drafted Trey Young, got the freaking trade for DeJounte Murray, just did all this stuff that had the Hawks rocking and rolling. The owner's son never had a job in the NBA, came and took Travis Slink's job. And don't nobody talk about that. And he's been there since 2020. Now that owner's son, you could go ahead and look it up. The owners, whatever the owner of the Atlanta Hawks is, his son is the one who does basketball operations. Granted, like I can't blame him because I have a daughter, and if I built a multi-billion-dollar business, like I'm gonna put my daughter on. Like, so I can't even blame these people. So like I'm gonna be honest, because like you want to see your kids do good. Like anyone that has kids in here, like I know they feel what I'm saying. Like your kid hurt, you hurt a lot more. So all I'm saying is like I do think that yeah, it's a crazy it's nepotism, but it's so small compared to all the other nepotism that's gone on around this league and the nepotism that's ran in the NBA that I'm gonna be honest. So what? Let Bronny rock out. That's how I feel about that joke.
No. This is you're comparing bowling balls and oranges. Nepotism in a business setting is different than what's most important in sports, and that is winning. I have never seen nepotism like this in my life. LeBron James coerced the Lakers organization in a year where they were dead in terms of assets and any ability to enhance talent on this team to draft a player who has no business in the NBA. He had no business in college, let alone the NBA. You wasted hours of sweat equity to appease a narcissistic egomaniac so that he could have his story for a guy that is taking up time and thought when you should be thinking about enhancing this team to win.
We were not going to get a better pick at the 55th pick.
No. Bullshit.
We were not.
Bullshit.
Joe, we were
Who
not.
Whooped our ass tonight? Who whooped our ass? Who watched the game tonight? Who whipped our ass tonight?
Fucking Rob Dillingham.
I'm going to drop some knowledge here. Who whipped our ass tonight that you didn't know about?
Rob Dillingham. I mean, I knew about Rob Dillingham. Rob Dillingham whooped our ass tonight.
Okay, so who was the other guy? The one that dropped 22 points on us. He had a game high for his
Josh
team.
Josh Minot. He's
Minot,
legit,
right? You know when Minot was drafted?
I do. He's like in 2020, right? Or like
second round pick, 45.
Okay, that's a diamond in the rough.
No. Don't no. Okay, don't tell me you're talking about the guy who won the MVP. Where was he picked this year? And how many MVPs does that guy have?
Another diamond in the rough, Joe.
Okay, a diamond in the rough is a diamond in the rough, not 10 diamonds in the rough. We're talking about a diamond in the rough. That's if you had 5 rounds like you did back in the day, or 7, and you pick somebody in the 6th round, or you pick a player, the Mr. Irrelevant. How many Mr. Irrelevants do you know off the top of your head in the NFL?
I don't follow football at all.
One.
I could care less.
One. I'll teach you. One. He's quarterbacking for the Niners.
Really?
Yes.
That guy was the last pick?
Okay. Before then, when? My last thought of the Mr. Irrelevant was the guy that played for the Giants back in '86, and that I'm not going to get into that right now. So you have a team that's so deficient, and you took your thoughts. It has nothing to do with nepotism, because if Marvin Harrison was working for the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm sitting there going, if your son drops to us, we're getting him. That had nothing to do with nepotism. Marvin Harrison Jr. has the potential of being the next Larry Fitzgerald. Maybe better if he stays healthy.
All right, Joe. These football analogies aren't going to take us anywhere here, Joe.
You're going to need – well, that's why I said Marvin Harrison and Marvin Harrison Jr. That you automatically know Marvin Harrison was an ex-NFL player, Hall of Famer, And now his son, who's a genetic freak, is a rookie this year. That's not nepotism. That's Marvin Harrison Jr., the best player in this draft. Actually, Jaden Daniels starting to kind of play with that a little bit. But point is, nepotism in the business area, in hiring a office manager or hiring an assistant, that's not nepotism. I don't care about that nepotism. That does nothing. I'm talking about sports. You have a 15-man roster on 30 teams. How many people is that in the NBA? 450 people. There's only 450 basketball players in a given night playing in the in the NBA, in the entire planet. And yet, you spend how many weeks talking about, oh, we need to enhance our team, we need to do this, and then you go, what the fuck?
What?
Sorry, wrong button.
Gerald, what an entrance!
I'm
Couldn't
sorry.
wait till I finished.
You can go ahead now. It's my bad.
What an entrance!
Go ahead.
So we're discussing nepotism.
I know. I've been listening to it. I've been listening to it all throughout.
I'm trying to understand I'm trying to understand why people don't understand the difference.
In what? In nepotism?
Why are you comparing? Anyone can run an office. Anyone can go work at Starbucks. Anyone can be an assistant or a videotape guy on an NBA team. Anyone can do that.
Operations of an entire NBA team.
I'm not saying they're going to be good. I'm saying anybody can get that job. Not basketball in terms of playing. This is the worst I've ever seen. I've never seen someone get drafted because they knew somebody like this. You only have 2 draft picks, and you used one on a guy that has no business playing in the NBA. Now, there is one time I did hear Mike Piazza back in the 90s got drafted by the Dodgers in the 57th round. Did you hear what I just said? Mike Piazza got drafted in the 57th round. If you had drafted Bronny at 57, probably wouldn't be complaining right now.
But there's not that many drafts. Drafting him
Doesn't
in
matter.
the second. But hold on, Joe.
You lost that.
Hold on. With drafting him in the second round of the 55th pick is equivalent to drafting him in the 57th round if there was 57 rounds. Like, it's equivalent to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, Joe. You do so many things as an NBA team to appease your star. Like, at the end of the day, Joe, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, you're right about a lot of these things, and morally you're right, but these NBA players, they're not realistic like me and you. They're prima donnas, and we know they're prima donnas. So we know NBA players need to be catered to. And I think if you're just in good NBA organization, and I know this may be a little bit of a stretch, but you know what? That's where my mind is going. So that's where I'm gonna take it to. The example that I think of, Joe, is like is this right here. Is when you need to, I think, understand in life how to play the game and play the game. And as an organization, the only thing that matters is winning, is being good. And if your star player is the guy that's like the main, driver and you winning, you being good, you need to appease your star player in every single way. Now, I'm not saying go and take Bronny with the 17th pick like how we did with Dalton Connect. No, but I am saying that if it's the 55th pick, we were not going to get a better option. We just were not, unless we found a diamond in the rough. And Joe and Gerald, I'm sorry, I'll let you share that in 1 second. I'm just going to get this off. We were not going to get a better pick, and I'm not saying Bronny is an NBA level player. Like, please understand that I'm not saying that. Like, I do not think Bronny was an NBA level talent player, but I do think that LeBron is a very important piece in this organization, and us being able to be successful right now and appeasing him on and off the court is kind of important. That's what I think. But I'm not saying in every way. I'm not saying we freaking gobble this. I'm not saying Joe learned what a glitzy gobbler is today. So I'm not saying we glitzy gobble LeBron, but what I am saying is that we hey, you know what? 55th pick. Hey, we got nothing to lose. Who else are we gonna take?
Again, as I always say, John, there 9 out of the last 10 number 55 picks have not earned a second NBA contract. Only Wiggins in OKC has. So there's a 90% chance this draft pick is going to fail. Whoever the Lakers were going to pick there, whether it was Bronny James or whoever. What will make Joe and I mad, John, it's just going to be this. If there's a player that's undrafted or that was picked after Bronny, that the Lakers could have had the opportunity to pick, and from this draft that does become a player in the NBA, that's going to piss us off, and we're going to let you know about it.
Okay, and that's fair.
The odds are long. The odds are long that it will happen, but if it does happen, we're going to let you know. We're going to let everybody know.
Absolutely, and that's fair. But I'm gonna look up who were the players after, because I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, I just don't.
It will most likely be an undrafted. There's only like 2 or 3 players that were drafted after Bronny, but it was most likely if somebody succeeds in the league, that it's going to be an undrafted player. It's not going to be the 2 or 3 guys that were picked after Bronny. It's going to be an undrafted player who could have been drafted by the Lakers. You know, if that's the case. But again, we'll have to. That's going to take 2 or 3 years to weed itself out. So that's a discussion for another day, but he looked absolutely outclassed today. He was not ready to play NBA basketball, and all the people out there that are supporting him, good for you. But reality check came very hard today, you know, and these were guys that a lot of these guys were 2nd, 3rd, 4th unit guys. Some of these guys are headed to the Minnesota G League team. Some of these guys even won't even make the Minnesota roster, that were making him look bad time and time again. And if you guys think that Bronny is ready to get any kind of minutes this season, as from what we saw tonight, you guys are sadly mistaken. He needs a lot of time in the G League just to see if he can play NBA ball before he is ready to even be thrown out there. Just put him in the first game, 2nd quarter, put him in for a minute, he play with his dad, send him to South Bay for the entire season. That's your best option for Bronny at this point.
I'm cool with that. Let him make history real quick.
You all done with your synopsis?
I've been hearing you for 30 miles, so I figured we got.
It's called the Nightcap for a reason.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm putting a cap at night on your ass. Notice Cool Bro's not here anymore. Put a cap on his ass. Finally went away. So, you all want the story. John, you're a young guy. You love the story.
I want the story.
Let me tell you this. You want a story? Go to the library. Go to Barnes & Nobles.
Ooh, okay.
Okay? You can read a lot of stories there. I don't give a shit about LeBron James and his story, unless it involves Lakers championships or at least competing for one. And I'm going to tell you this right now. He doesn't give a shit about you, Gerald, and everybody in this chat room, and pretty much anybody else. And that's okay. He's not supposed to. I'm invested. Laker fans should be invested in the results of the team wins and losses. That's what this is. I don't give a shit if they're paying this guy 4 years for $80 million and this guy for $50 billion. I don't care about that. We don't care. It's not our money. It's not our collective bargaining agreement. We are fans. We are investing our time in watching this team win. And what they have done so that you all can sit there and talk to all your friends and everybody and maybe talk to your girls and how the girls all of a sudden find out that story like it's some kind of Kelsey, Taylor Swift bullshit story. Oh my God, he's playing with his son. Oh my God. I can't believe it. I've never seen this. This is what it's about? Really? We're not the Charlotte Hornets. We're not the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is the LA Lakers. We put championship banners in the arena. That's it. We only put Hall of Famers up in the rafters. We're going to put Michael Cooper up this year. Love it. Coop is going up in the damn rafters. He belongs there. That's one of the few things I'm looking forward to this season. I cannot wait. I watched backstage Lakers today for the first time in a while because it was a dedication to Coop. You had Byron Scott there. You had Jamal Wilkes. You had Kareem there sitting on a seat with his cane. You had Magic. You had Worthy. Everyone was there. Actually, I don't think Magic was there. Worthy being the master of ceremonies there. Propping up Michael Cooper. I had never seen Michael Cooper cry until today. Because the guy is always happy. The guy is always positive. You think I don't like people that are happy and positive? That's not me. You guys might assume that because I'm talking about something that's not giving me any reason to be positive or happy. Understand the difference. No, I don't care about a guy who doesn't belong in the league just because he's related to our star player. What are they going to do, God rest his soul, if Kobe comes up to you and he says, I want you guys to draft Gianna?
That's different, Joe. That's
okay?
extremely different. That's totally different.
I'll tell you what. I can go somewhere else with that, but I won't. We'll leave it at that. So the point here is you Grizzlies or Grizzles, whatever the hell it is that you guys are now, whatever the hell that word was. Glizzies, you guys and your man purses and your alpaca hairstyles, you guys are this generation's slap nuts. You are. I'm not talking about kicking people in snake pits. I'm not talking about cutting people's heads off. Okay, I'm talking about just keep it simple. Can you compete? You're making more money than in 1 year than Michael Jordan made half his career. And you couldn't hold Michael Jordan's ear hair. And you're making 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the money that he made. Hell, you're making this money because of him.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to win this year is the question that everybody needs to ask. Someone asked JJ Redick about, is Rui going to take the next step? And he totally got offended by it.
Took with JJ.
Right? He said, you're starting that narrative. What narrative? Do you think Rui is going to improve this year? You just can't say yes or no, right? Yeah, sure, he'll improve. Not really. He doesn't know that, right? But wouldn't it have been a better answer to say, Rui's been working his butt off this summer. We're going to get a chance to see if all the hard work maybe makes him a little bit more known. What did you guys think about him tonight? He played a little over 20 minutes. He was missing shots left and right.
Absolutely was.
Rui and his effort getting back on defense was questionable. I mentioned a couple times on playback. He looked like he was cruising in preseason mode.
And does Rui have any business cruising ever?
No.
So Rui's not a bad guy, okay? Rui is working hard. Rui's not a bad guy. But at the same time, he's probably just not good enough. It's the old Chuck Noll line. Chuck Noll, if you haven't heard it, John, you might have come in late when I used this line. When Chuck Noll, former Pittsburgh Steelers coaching great, in 1969, he was hired by the Pittsburgh Steelers. At that time, the Steelers were the worst franchise in NFL history at that time. They had existed since 1933. It was 1969. They made one playoff game in all those years and got blown out. That was it. They had never done anything else. They were worse than the
Bobcats, the Charlotte Bobcats,
the Browns, the Cardinals before Kurt Warner came. Like, they were bad. So
wow. Chuck
Noll does some kind of film for all the players, and he goes, guys, and he shows them the film, and he goes, guys, you guys here, it's got nothing to do with your attitude. It has nothing to do with what you want and need. It's just you're not good enough. and I'm going to get rid of a lot of you. And that's the future. That is the future, folks. The future of this team is that they are just not good enough. Everything has to go perfect, which is pretty much every team, right? Everything goes perfect. Could it have not gone more perfect than last year? They hit their shots. LeBron and AD didn't have one debilitating injury last year. Everything that any game that missed was maintenance missed. That's it. They had everything ready for them. They won the in-season tournament. All the positiveness, all that ass massaging that you guys like, they did it all. But what happened when it mattered? What happened when it mattered? Lakers have won one playoff game in 2 seasons. One playoff game, not series. One playoff game. And you all have the nerve to come sit here and say, Joe, Bronny didn't matter and this. Yet, right now, it's official now that the new season started. You only had 2 opportunities last year where you had total control to bring in talent you didn't have before draft night. And you decided to pick one, and then the other you spent probably 3 weeks massaging that ass so that you can pick a guy who, when he came in today, when it mattered, completely butchered any chance of your team winning. That is what this management and this ownership and everyone's boy LeBron James has created. That's what they created tonight. You don't care about practice. You don't care about preseason games. If you don't care about the prep and you don't care about the winning when it doesn't matter, you ain't going to fucking win when it matters because you're going to keep going back and forth. No one on this team, no one is capable of turning it on and turning it off. There's only one team I ever saw in my life turn it on and turn it off. And that was the three-peat Lakers. And the only reason why that worked is because you had the best big man in the game and the best perimeter player in their primes whooping that ass. And that's just how it works sometimes.
Oh, well, let me just say real quick, and then we're going to get Henry in here. I didn't know when I created this channel that ass massaging would be a thing.
That's what we do. Ass massagers.
Yeah. Just didn't know that would be a part of this channel, but there it is. John or Henry?
Are you done interrupting me while I'm talking?
Oh, always. Yeah.
Yeah? Good. Okay. Next time, don't do it.
I'll do it if I want.
So Henry,
Let me get
nice haircut, by the way.
I have to say something, man.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I was listening to you guys. There is no way, John, and I love you, brother. There is no way a professional basketball organization can literally draft someone's child because you appease to the stars. This is professional basketball. We're not drafting the coach's son to play like an indoor basketball adult league or anything like that. This is the NBA. This is professional, but this is the Lakers, man. They won 17 in a row. So I just had to jump in and make it clear. You definitely, I love you. You have some good points, but that one you are far off, bro.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me get my bounce back on that because we're not just gonna act like he's just some like dude who just plays at like YMCA. Like he's not an NBA level talent player, which I've said, and like I wanna clear that. Like I am not backing this guy. I'm not saying he should be there, but what I am saying is look at how many other things organizations do all the time to keep their star players happy. Look at how many other things organizations do. Like, and if LeBron James, and I agree, like that's terrible of LeBron. LeBron should have never put that on the Lakers. Like, yo, like y'all gonna have to draft my son because this is what I want to do. That's extremely selfish of LeBron. Because at the end of the day, I'm a Lakers fan. I ride with the Lakers. But I think that, but I'm also going to be a realist. So if this is the situation that LeBron's going to put us in, he's putting our backs up against up against the wall because Okay, we don't take it. Now LeBron's disgruntled, and he's the guy who we kind of need to make this team run the way we want to. If we want to win, like how we were talking about, which I understand, I totally agree with my brother Henry. The number one thing that matters is winning. But how are we gonna win if bro is disgruntled? You know? And I agree. Like it was an extreme, but it's like I told Joe. Please tell me who we would have took at the 55th pick that would have made a difference towards winning, which is the ultimate goal.
I can't tell you who else they would have picked because if I told you some random name, obviously I'd be lying.
Yeah.
I don't do the research like Stone Hansen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I definitely don't follow the second round. The first round, maybe, yeah. Like the draft lottery picks, sure, I follow those. Especially when the Lakers were bad with Luke Walton, I was following it a lot, so I could probably get the full first round down. But nowadays, I don't. I don't know who else, but we all knew that going into the draft, this kid is not an NBA talent. So at least if you did choose somebody else, anybody else, there is still a chance that that pick might hit. And of course, the guys already said, obviously, Jokic been MVP, second rounder, Manu Ginobili, someone said 57th pick. Of course, that's obviously very rare. I'm not saying that, but just in general of like appeasing someone for a professional NBA franchise that has 17 championships is crazy. And
You're right.
to be honest, forget about LeBron. You can love him, hate him, whatever, put that to the side. In my opinion, that's how low the management and the team organization of the operations of like Rob Pelinka and stuff has gone so down to that they have to do this to keep a star player, which is complete, in my opinion, bullshit.
You're right. 100%. That, my brother, I have no disagreements on. You are a million times right. What's up, Joe? You're on mute, though.
I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna make more sense. Here's the reason why there's so much disdain for this. They could have picked them up as a free agent. Why would they have to draft him? Because they wanted the prestige of the draft.
And give him a 4-year contract.
And give him a 4-year contract because there's certain rules stipulated on whether you draft him or not. No matter what you say, John, no matter how – look, at the end of the day, I've had this discussion on a myriad of things in life. And this is where things go south sometimes with family members. I've met family members watching right now. If you're listening, you all know this. Family members, friends, people I don't know people that get angry when they hear something they don't like to hear who don't know me. Folks, I'm not going to say something if it's not true with conviction. If I don't know what I'm talking about, if Neil deGrasse Tyson comes in and starts talking about astronomy, I'm going to sit in the corner and shut the fuck up. I know nothing about that world, literally. Okay? If you're going to come, if a podiatrist is going to come and talk about foot surgery, I'm going to go sit in the corner and shut the hell up. I don't know anything about foot surgeries. Lakers, psychology involving sports, why, what, who the hell LeBron James is, you're not going to win that argument. You'll never win that argument. You can't argue with someone who watches every game and then dissects it every game, every night, and then have the nerve to sit down and you don't do that and you say, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Motherfucker, how do you know I don't know? You watched 14 games last year. How do you know? How do you know? 14 to 89.
I don't want to cut you off, but Bloodhound just said that I think the truest statement in this chat, that the organization's goals don't align with the fans' goals. That's why there's friction. I agree with that.
That at the end of the day, I think is the biggest issue with the Lakers. Absolutely.
I agree. You have Joe, you have John, you have Gerald. Gerald's freaking sitting watching a 3-hour preseason game on playback because he's passionate about the team. Joe watches all 82 games. He watches the preseason game. He's at a fucking football game, streaming the game on his phone, watching, while the organization's goals is to have that moment, have that jersey sell. Come on, man, that's fucking bullshit. Miss me with that
Come
bullshit.
on now. Come on, Henry.
It doesn't. Again, it takes a lot. It takes a certain energy. It takes a certain mentality to deal with blowback. Now, blowback when it's legitimate, and most people out there these days, especially, would rather be right than be right about what's right. A lot of it is in politics. People would rather be right. They'd like to believe that their ideology is correct, when in fact, everything is jacked up, because not everyone can live that way. Not everyone has the same mentality. That's why we're having all these issues. Now with sports is the great equalizer. There is really no sides in sports. There really isn't. It's sports. We're watching. Who watches sports and not cheer to win? If you have a favorite team. There are people who don't care about any teams, watch just to enjoy the game. That's fine. But I'm talking about the fan that likes the Timberwolves or the Lakers or the Hornets or whatever. What fan is watching so that they can, he's playing with his kid? No, we're watching watch the team win. And if they don't win, we're frustrated. If they win, we're happy. If we want them to win championships. That's the point. Lakers are completely different on top of all that. They are the standard of greatness. They're the standard. They've been the standard even before they were even in the NBA. They were winning championships in another league before they even got to the NBA. So you want me now to just, we won 6 championships. We went to 9 finals since I've watched. All right, you guys can suck now. Let's watch the father-son show. Is that what you want me to do?
But no, Joe, no one's saying that. No one's saying let Bronny play 82 games. Bronny should not see the floor in the regular season.
John, let me finish this real quick, and I'll let you go.
Yes, sir.
I want you to really understand this. This is not the point of this Bronny playing him. Forget about that for right now. It's already here. We have to deal with it. The point I'm making is they spent sweat equity and brain power and paperwork and dialogue on shit that would not help them win. That's the problem. They weren't spending time trying to find maybe a diamond in the rough. They were too busy going, let's draft this guy so LeBron is happy. For what? Happy for what? He's a billionaire. His kids are healthy. He lives in Hollywood. What are we supposed to continue to give these assholes everything all the time? For what? So that we can watch them lose? Fuck you. No. Fuck LeBron and his stupid whatever the hell this is. He's here to win championships, not to have a Make-A-Wish Foundation event in crypto.com, which again, that should have been the set-off right there. The fact that lame-ass name got put in to Kobe and Shaq's house. The writing is on the wall with these assholes that are running this company, okay? It's been writing. We've talked about it, okay? We've talked about it. And you're not going to win this argument. You're not, because we're going to dig deep. You know, if JJ Redick wants to get all defensive and start yapping, I'll yap back, okay? You want me to respect an owner who try to take money, I'm going to keep bringing this up, try to take money from people who needed the money during COVID. This fucking lady has a multi-billion-dollar business, and she had the nerve to try to go get money for employees using the government handouts.
PPP loan.
What does that tell you about that person deep down?
And she only gave it back because she got caught.
But she got caught. What does that tell you about people like that? Look how she treated the greatest Laker when you factor in start, middle, and end. Obviously, Kobe and Magic are the best players. You can pick either one. You're right on both accounts. To me, they're 1-1. But the greatest Laker, the guy that played, constructed, advised, executed, Jerry West. What does that tell you about those people? They treated him like dog shit. They were texting his wife to message to him. Those are cowards. And she hired a snake oil salesman who continues to just bullshit us left and right. And you want me to sit back and watch my favorite team just, because we have this love story that we're going to be watching. What, Robert Redford's going to come out of nowhere with Robert Streisand and start dancing on the floor while they're playing now? Is that what we're going to do? I mean, Lakers have always been about Hollywood. Don't get me wrong. But Hollywood is watching the Lakers perform. Then we're not here for Jack when it comes to the ball. Jack is watching the ball. Now we're allowing actors and people, anybody. Oh, your family member? Yeah, we'll draft them. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll guarantee a kid who can't fucking dribble a ball in an NBA game, we'll give him a 4-year contract. Yeah, that's legitimate. That's a legitimate business plan for a team that's supposed to start winning championships, right? Okay, whatever. No one's ever going to win this argument because there is no argument. We already know who these people are. We already know what they're doing. And you're going to see the results again. And when you see the results, you're going to start making up another story. And guess what? I'm going to be right back there to tell you your story is shit. Gerald, give me a break here. I'm going to go get a drink so that people can drink too.
Rodell, this is not a Lakers hate podcast, but I think it's just when you see Bronny out there and understand, and John, I'll bring it back to you, my friend, and Henry as well. Once again, this is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford. Henry's popped back on. Oh, did Joe leave? Okay, I'll come back on. But the Lakers do lose 124-107. Again, we got to take some good points. And I know when I was listening to you earlier, John, you did. Henry, I know you didn't get a chance to see a whole lot of the game. But again, the Bronny situation, I'm glad you weighed in on. And we feel the same. To give and commit that kind of money and that kind of time to him, the kind of contract length for a guy that's picked that late in the draft, for a guy that looks probably like a guy right now that needs a whole lot of work just to even get at a 13th, 14th man level in the NBA, is very questionable. But there are other things that I saw tonight that I want to discuss. And Rodell obviously is a happy man tonight because Max Christie is one of those things. He played very well offensively. Defensively was a mixed bag because, yes, he did get some recovery block shots, but he looked very poor against Dillingham defensively, and getting around screens is still tough for him. But to get to the good, he looked very smooth on offense, actually passed the ball well himself. Let me get it to you first, John, and then I'll bring it to you, Henry. John, your thoughts on Max Christie's performance tonight, and then Henry, I'm going to have you touch on Dalton Connect because you did get to see with me some of Dalton Connect and what he did tonight. But John, what are your thoughts on Max Christie for this evening?
I mean, honestly, I was saying earlier, I don't know if you guys were on it. I mean, you guys weren't on at the time. I don't know if you guys were listening, but I was talking about.
Oh, I was, whether I liked it or not.
I've never been a big believer of Max Christie. I'm gonna be honest with you.
None of us were. Rodell is the big believer for us, as you know in the emails. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of Max Christie. Rodell was the one that was like super upset at the fact that I said he's not an NBA player. Rodell, I still believe it, and I still stand on it. Max Christie's not an NBA level player. He's just not ready for that kind of competition level. But that's not the point. The point is that what I did see from him tonight, though, was I feel like that I did see a different level of confidence, and I saw him when playing and like just dribbling the basketball, getting to the hoop. I feel like I saw something that I haven't seen him in the past years, and that makes sense because in the past years he's been in the league, and the league is the top of the top. And right now in the preseason, it's not really it's not really that. So I feel like Max felt a little bit more comfortable. So it was cool to see him in that light. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, I don't think that this guy's gonna turn out to be anything in the NBA. So
Well, the problem
I,
is he needs to be, John, because the Lakers do have, after player number 5, they do. And thank you so much, Darren. Truly appreciate your thoughts. He said Max looked good. Max at times did look good on the offensive end and defensive end as far as his recovery blocks, but fighting over screens is still an issue. And you put him on the wrong player like Dillingham. Dillingham did serve him lunch today and did not look good against Dillingham, but other players that are more his size and around his athletic ability, Terrence Shannon Jr., he played very well against defensively, so I will give him credit for that. And offensively, he did look very smooth. Henry, Dalton Connect, the guy that Rodell and I were arguing over, and Joe and John were arguing over for the past few months in our emails back and forth, also looked good from an offensive sense. He's definitely not shy putting that up as far as the shots are concerned. Connected well from the outside. Did look very much under control. Handling the ball was still an issue because he did get a rip from him one time. And then defensively, he did not look terrible. He looked passable and actually had a block shot himself. But with Dalton and Max both, a lot is going to be relied on because the Lakers just do not have enough places, as we saw tonight with the bad performances from Gabe, Maxwell Lewis. JHS was uneven, as far as his performance, both some good things and some bad things you could take from JHS in tonight's performance. But with Max and Dalton, I think both have to be a lot more consistent like they were tonight and give you some of that kind of consistency out the bench for the Lakers to be even competitive in the Western Conference, Henry.
Yeah, honestly, as you said, I didn't watch much of the game, but from what I saw, I mean, Connect looked fine. It was like fluid coming off on the offensive side, coming off screens, pin downs. The shot looked good. He's going to continue shooting. That's what his bread and butter. That's what got him into the NBA. I would love for him to build on this performance. He is a rookie. We need to give him time. He is actually worth the first round pick. It did fall, the pick did fall to the Lakers. He was expected to go higher than the Lakers pick. So he looked fine to me, connect wise. Obviously, I would love for him to just be that one outlier that plays significant role playing minutes and contributes to the team. That remains to be seen. I'm excited to see that for what it's worth. But other than that, like, I have no complaints on Connect. I mean, he's going to consistently, hopefully get better, get that shot down more, be a lethal person. And at the very least, if that shot is being respected, it does open up the playing field for the rest of the guys he's playing with on the floor at the time. So I'm happy with his performance. Let him continue building and growing on this.
I agree, my friend. Yeah, I know that Rodell had some choice words for you. Go ahead.
No, Gerald, let me hop in real quick because it's funny that I'm not gonna give Rodell too much light, but I just think it's funny because he says you don't know basketball. But what's funny to me is that I feel like me, Joe, Henry, everybody that is on that email thread, we all agree with one thing. And Rodell, you are the only outlier. I wonder, are we all just wrong? And
well, I didn't say he wasn't a basketball player. I wanted to say that he will be a rotation player in the league, is what my exact quote was, which Rodell gets wrong every single time. I said it might not be for the Lakers and that he might find a place in the NBA somewhere else eventually, like a lot of the Laker rotation players do. I mean, how many Lakers players are on former Lakers players are on other teams' rosters right now? It just happens. You find a better fit and go on from there. But the Lakers need him to step up and be consistent this season because they have zero depth if he or Dalton Connect don't produce this season. It's a problem.
Yes, but essentially, I say all that to say, I'm not even going to give Rodell too much. You don't have too much energy, to be honest with you. What's known doesn't need to be said.
After what he said about us earlier this summer, he has zero credibility with us. Let's
Yeah,
just say that.
yeah. So it's no doesn't need to be said. But one thing I did want to mention, and shout out, I think he's in the chat right here. His name is something Gibson, E. Gibson, right? He said Redick will be the next fall guy for the Lakers. It's questionable. It's questionable if he's even equipped to be a
Well,
head coach.
Doobie
in the
hasn't
NBA.
fired him yet. When Doobie says fire,
So look,
when he'll start saying he hates JJ and wins and losses, then that's
two things. Two things with this. One, I think that like JJ Redick is such a brave guy for taking this job. Like this, he's a first time head coach on the Los Angeles Lakers, who's already scrutinized with LeBron James on his last leg. That's already scrutinized, and like he's going into this, like he kind of made it to where, like he screwed himself over any game. Look at this. Like E. Gibson. Like I'm not saying you're wrong or you're right. Like we'll see how JJ is gonna do as a coach. But like people even to say this sentence that we don't know if he's equipped or not after one game of of um of a preseason, like is crazy to me, But this is what's gonna happen to JJ. Every loss they have, JJ, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, JJ's on a hot seat, and this and this and that and that and that." And I just feel bad because the man kind of did it to himself. But we'll see. We'll see
we don't
how
have
he
a
does it.
choice, John. We don't have a choice because they've already spent and committed 4 years and $32 million on him. So he better produce. And if he doesn't, then the Lakers are in trouble. And Joe is going to be the first one that's going to tell them. And we'll be sure to remind them. But again, I think he is an NBA player. I just don't know if it's going to be long lasting with the Lakers or with somebody else because he is not going to be a star in the league. And if you're not a star in the league, it's just someone that you're hoping can at least provide you consistency. And he has yet to do that yet in his NBA career.
Yeah. But yeah, Joe, that's that on that. And we'll see. We'll see. But Joe, you look like you got something to say.
Yeah.
Are you ready to say something?
Salute.
There you go. Drink up, my friend.
Nightcap for the night. Couldn't have a
Sucks
nightcap
for you,
without
NLV. I'm
nightcap.
sorry, but go Rebels nonetheless. Bad loss tonight.
What we saw tonight is a malignant cancer that has not gone away. You can blame all the coaches that they hire all you want. You can continue to blame certain players all you want. In the end, who's pulling the trigger on the talent and the leadership? And how is their leadership resonating, trickling down? When you look at teams like the Arizona Cardinals, the Chicago Bears, the Cincinnati Bengals, I know this is not your wheelhouse, John, but I'm talking about horribly run franchises in the NFL. You have notorious ownerships in those three franchises that always have this, I don't know, it's like a lingering assness about them. Whether it's Chicago never being able to find the right player or quarterback year after year after year. And then, of course, they find one and then he leaves and all of a sudden he's showing himself to be a possible franchise quarterback. You look at Arizona Cardinals before Kurt Warner, they hadn't won a championship. They hadn't even seen a championship for like 50 years. You look at the Cincinnati Bengals and Mike Brown, those guys, anytime something starts to go right, they always have a knack of just shitting on everything. They're not paying the guys the right way, whatever. The Lakers are becoming that kind of ownership and that kind of leadership. They have a horrible owner, a terrible GM, and a maybe not a washed up individual basketball player, but a washed up championship player in LeBron James. And he knows it. And these agreements that they've made with the owners the last few years is another reason that you need to pay attention to how these guys have sabotaged themselves, all for the sake of money. If that's all it's about, then you're not going to really have a lot of people that are going to care about winning. When does that now click off to the fan who does care about winning? That's probably going to be the question. Will there be a time where we're just like, look, if you guys don't give a shit about winning, then what are we doing here? And right now, the Lakers have shown that they don't really care about winning. They only care about appeasing and, I don't know, massaging asses. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to agree with it ever. Call me an old man all you want. You're never going to win that argument. Never. You'll never win that argument.
Even
Are you here to
Rodell,
win? Are you here to win? And again, Rodell, the fact that
I was just
Rodell,
going to say he agrees with us on Bronny. Even he sees the issues.
and again, the fact that we're talking about that guy already is already. It's like I'm done with this discussion. I'm not going to talk. I don't want to talk about a non-NBA player on this team. I really don't. It's useless because we're taking away from the fact that Dalton Knecht, who's a legitimate NBA prospect, a legitimate possible future, very good veteran long-term player, who showed a lot of what we hoped that he would show in one preseason game. He's shown a little bit even in summer league. We're taking away all our focus. I'm getting a freaking stupid ass message on this damn phone about that asshole has scored a shot. Where's Dalton Knecht's info? Why didn't you chime me about how Dalton Knecht had a good game tonight? His first, I'll bet, an exhibition game, but this was his first true NBA game. Why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about what you just said? JHS had what? 6 assists and no turnovers?
Yeah,
Why are we talking about that? No, we're talking about how some guy who grew out his hair so he can look taller and how he got a basket with 2 minutes left after he fucked up any chance of this team winning the game tonight. Seriously, man. I mean, you're not giving me anything to be positive about. You're not. You're not giving me anything. Give me something. Can AD win an MVP? Is LeBron going to play defense? Is Max Christie going to play 34 minutes a game like he did tonight and score 18 points, not 11? It's just it's been lingering since draft night, guys. It's been lingering. It's been lingering actually before then, but draft night became official. It officially told everyone that they don't give a shit about winning, and we're just going to have to accept it. And all the people that want to see this fairy tale, this Disney fake-ass fairy tale, they're going to get what they want. And then once it's gone, then what? Then we're going to be playing in December, getting our ass kicked by, I don't know, the freaking Pelicans at home. No more. No, I'm not. You need to give me a reason why I should be happy about what this team is going to do. They're going to play Phoenix on Sunday. Let's see if they continue to start every fucking game down 12. They're going to come back in the second and third quarter and then take a nice shit on themselves when it matters in the fourth. Where have we seen that? Almost every game, every other game, over and over again. You've changed coaches. You've changed players. You had an all AARP team in 2022. You had an all I don't know who in 2023. Now you have an all they don't belong in the NBA roster for 2024, 2025. At what point are you going to finally realize that the people making the switches that have the phone in their hand are the problem, allowing this shit to happen? Because every time I see a team that's stacked, like Oklahoma City Thunder or the Boston Celtics, how are they getting Drew Holiday? How are they getting Caruso? How are they getting Hartenstein? These guys have everybody banked and paid, and they're still bringing up their rosters with talent. Why aren't the Lakers? They don't have shit beyond LeBron and AD.
To add on to your point, I just wanted to get, I mentioned this on playback. If people can go ahead and listen to Hollinger and Duncan, the Hollinger and Duncan show, if they can, just check out this week's episode. They go into detail on the Cat trade. So you know how badly the Knicks needed a center and went out and got Cat. You guys need to go in and check it out. Exactly what steps New York needed to take as far as cap circumvention. They found every loophole imaginable to get that trade done, as far as finding players that they had played at the end of last season that they re-signed just to trade. They found a player overseas that had played with them that they actually got. They had to pay the European team just to get him off the team so they could sign him for a week. And then a week later, he'll go back on the. Just check it out. Hollinger and Duncan. I really want to give them props because John Hollinger did break it down. He's a former executive with Memphis. He really broke it down. But the thing is, in order to do that, Joe, you have to have first a very intelligent GM who knows the CBA, knows all the ins and outs, and wants and desires to improve his team when there's a need. And you know, New York needed a center once Robinson went down and Hartenstein went to Oklahoma City. He made the effort, Leon Rose, to find that player. Now, whether or not he's the right player, we'll see. Okay, you can have your thoughts on Cat, what have you. But they made the effort, Joe, to make the trade to get it done. They found every loophole. It involved about 7 or 8 players. Draft rights for players they drafted years ago, involved a third team in Charlotte. They got it done. Why can't Rob do something like that as well? That's all I ask. It's just the effort. The effort. Thanks, John. Appreciate you coming on. Truly appreciate it, my friend. But Joe, your thoughts, my friend. Again, just very. It's just. I see one team go to the lengths that they want to go to win, and I don't see the Lakers doing the same.
I think at this point I'm going to ride the wave. I think I've explained this enough times, and the reason why I have to keep explaining is because I think the interpretation is still off. Even John, and I know John hasn't been on the show in a while, but the interpretation is still skewed by a lot of people. They're not really understanding what I'm saying. I don't get it, but I'm not going to continue to repeat this at this point. I'm feeling like even my head is starting to hurt from it. I'm going to try to analyze each game as best I can. And then when it gets to the point of no return, then maybe we can revisit this. But I'm gonna end this discussion, and then I'm going to start going into what they're going to have to start doing here based off of what we've seen tonight, and obviously what the likelihood is of how the roster is going to, play itself out as well. This team is lacking impact players in abundance. They're going to have to play perfect basketball to make a difference. It's very hard to do that in today's NBA. You have to have some kind of ability to not work as hard because you're so talented. They don't have that. Austin Reeves, when he's dribbling the ball, he's trying his butt off. He is trying to dribble in between a split double team. He's trying to dribble around certain guys, and it's hard. It's hard work for him to do that. And that takes up a lot of energy. And when you do that, you're not going to have enough energy to play every game in and game out for 48 minutes unless you are a thoroughbred. And then you look at somebody like Rui, as hard as he works, as nice as he is, as accommodating as he is he talented enough to do what they need to do? Probably not. Not for a game in and game out situation. And then you have D'Angelo Russell. If his shot doesn't go down, he's useless, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then you have AD and LeBron. AD and LeBron are going to do their thing. AD is going to do his thing, but he's even got limits because if he's guarding everyone because no one else can, I don't see how he's not going to either indirectly get frustrated, not say anything, or just tire himself out. That's kind of how that goes. And then LeBron James, if you guys can tally this up, do me a favor. Starting with game 1 of the regular season through 82, I want you guys to pay attention to how many times LeBron James leaves his teammates on a 4-on-5 break because he doesn't get a foul call. I want you to start tallying that up. And then we can extrapolate that and make sense of whatever that ends up being. Like, how many times did the team score on that particular decision by LeBron James? And LeBron James is your number one guy doing that. And what happens in a setting like this? When your number one guy is doing stuff like that, everyone else on board thinks it's okay to do it as well, even though they don't do it like that. But what it does is it creates complacency. It creates this not really respectful way of being with basketball. And then beyond that, who is going to step up? Is it going to be Max Christie? Is it going to be Dalton Connect? Is it going to be Jackson Hayes? Jackson Hayes didn't have a bad game tonight. And Jackson Hayes, you've heard me say it a few times. He played better last year than I thought he would. I'm very proud of him for that, but he's very, very limited.
If he played better than you think he did, how come he only decided to pick up the minimum on his contract for the second year?
Because I thought he'd be worse. I really did. I thought he'd be worse, but just because he wasn't worse doesn't mean it's gonna help.
Defensively, though, is still a lot of hot garbage. I'm going to be honest with you, Joe.
Yeah. It's not good, guys. It's not good because the Chuck Noll line is you're just not good enough, and that is management's problem. All those years that Jerry Krause fought with Michael Jordan and Pippen and all that. And you look at Jerry Krause's time during that. You look at his talent acquisition. You look at his coaching acquisition. And I'm not putting the blame on Jordan and Pippen and on everything. You know, Jerry Krause had his faults. He had a massive inferiority complex, someone who needed credit, and that wasn't anything that I got from the documentary. That was something I knew even back in the 90s. You can see it in his demeanor. You could just see it. But what he did do is he traded Olden Polynice for Scottie Pippen. He drafted Horace Grant. He traded a very, very popular player. And this is going, again, John was still on here so I could explain to him, stop trying to make your stars happy on every end. Charles Oakley was at that time, much like kind of how hockey used to be, there was always a bruiser who protected the number one guy. Like back in when Gretzky was with Edmonton, when Gretzky was in LA, Marty McSorley was his bruiser. Anybody who looked at Gretzky, McSorley would come out of nowhere and beat your ass. Charles Oakley was that guy for Michael. Now, at that time when positions mattered, you had a position of point guard, scoring guard, small forward, power forward, and center. The Bulls were deficient in terms of centers. They needed a center. So they traded Jordan's favorite player at that time and a fan favorite in Charles Oakley for Bill Cartwright so they could solidify the center position. That's Jerry Krause. So you have Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, trade for Bill Cartwright, and then he would get John Paxson. He would get Steve Kerr. He would get Tony Kukoc. And this is the team that won 6 championships in different versions. And all this stuff made Michael, getting Phil Jackson out of nowhere too. This is right after Doug Collins took the up-and-coming Bulls to the Eastern Conference Finals. But Jerry Krause recognized that we need to get something a little bit better so we can reach the finals. And you all saw what happened after that. You don't think Michael was pissed off about that? Why are you getting rid of why are you getting rid of Doug Collins? He's my favorite coach. Why are you putting in Phil Jackson? He's going to want an equal opportunity offense. I don't want an equal opportunity offense. Did the Bulls appease Jordan? No. And in doing that, he helped build a business. Granted, Jordan was the number one piece, but are you going to argue that those guys didn't help win? It's still a team game. Could you imagine if Jordan had said, I need you to draft my son? What do you think Jerry Krause would have done? Nuts? No. What do you think Jerry West would have said? No. What are you, nuts? You're trying to win basketball games here. What do you mean draft your son? The mentality is trash. I'm offended, and I don't get offended. I'm offended that a schmuck like Rob Pelinka is in charge of my favorite team, and you have a moron as an owner. She might be smart outside basketball, but she's a moron running this business. Sorry, it is what it is. She's shown me nothing. She's shown me no knowledge. She's shown me puppies and videos walking around. That's her contribution to this.
Serge, thank you so much for everything, my friend. Truly appreciate all your help tonight. Just wanted to get that in there, Joe. Did a great job during playback and tonight. Just
Serge,
the best out there.
We want you here every night when we're on here, please. I know you have circumstances here and there, but
and I know he mods 15,000
Lakers
channels.
I know. And my hope is that as the show gets bigger, hopefully here soon, we can start throwing some scratches away. The vitriol, the angst, the venom is going to continue. It's not going to stop. I will never stop. You don't fix problems quitting.
I don't ask anymore, guys. Sorry.
You don't fix problems quitting. The Lakers need to clean up their acts. Jeannie needs to set aside, sell the team, or put somebody in her position that knows what they're doing. And you need to get an executive in here that knows how to build a basketball team. Get LeBron James out of here after this year. If you want to start winning championships, get him out of here. You want to start developing players, you got to get rid of this extra money that you're spending on stuff that's not winning you championships. Keep AD for a couple more years or get an amazing package for him. I don't care. Let's start focusing on winning championships again. Even if you know you're not going to win, try to build up to it. There's plenty of teams that suck for a while and then come back. Even the Golden State Warriors did that. We can do that too.
Darren, great question. I don't think so. I just see, again, as far as members are concerned, and you can become a member today for $2.99 a month. I'm going to give a shout out to all the members here in a sec, but I don't see anything in the chat telling me who is and who is not a member, to give you an idea. I'm also on YouTube along with the software I'm using now, so I apologize. I don't see that, but I'm going to give everybody a shout out as far as members before we head on out. And Henry, to answer your question, I answered in the chat, and I also put a link to my review of Mr. McMahon. I've got a written review of it on the Pop Culture Cosmos website. I do want to mention that Mr. McMahon, if you get a chance to see it, for those that are not up to speed on the history of the WWE, it's a good learning tool. Catches you up on most of the ups and downs for the company has had over the past 30, 40 plus years. If you're in the know on pro wrestling and you know everything behind the scenes that's gone on, it's not going to really tell you anything new. And of course, all the wrestlers and wrestling personalities, they tell you what they want you to know and not exactly always what I think you would like to know. And I'll leave it at that. But it's very well made. I'll put it there.
The thing with Vince, and I understand why
I gave it a positive review, just to tell you. Right?
I understand why Undertaker would take a bullet for Vince.
Mm-hmm.
Because
look what he's done to his career.
He's done his career. But guys, if the stuff that they're saying is true, and this much heat over and over again, at some point you start to, where there's smoke, there's fire thing. You abuse women, folks. And I'm sorry. I'm not the nicest guy to anyone, obviously. But when you put yourself in a position where you have to abuse a woman, I just don't have any respect for you. I'm sorry, I don't.
Guys, just want to let you know, Tim Conley, who is the one that helped orchestrate the trade, and he is the Minnesota GM. He is a free agent next year. As of now, he is a free agent. I think he's probably just keeping an eye on this ownership battle that's going on. But, whether or not the Lakers would actually get rid of Rob, put him or Bob Myers or somebody that really experienced, or even what was suggested earlier. I know, Brian, you're a big fan of the buses, even putting the buses in there as far as, even more nepotism. I don't know. I'm hoping if we get good returns, Rob will keep his job if that's the case. If not, then Rob should be feeling the heat. What will he? That's the question. How much in favor is he with Genie? So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, are we in Halloween, or are we going to do a joke Rob and put our Rob Pelinka masks on again like we did before, or is this team for real? And we can finally start laying some praise to Rob. But I have my doubts, Joe. I have my doubts because this team does not look like it has a well-built roster for an entire season. I have my concerns, and I don't see anything that comes from tonight's game that's going to help alleviate them as of yet.
What we've seen tonight is what we've been seeing for a while. It's the same script. Am I wrong? You tell me. Or am I just, my memory is there and a lot of people are not remembering a lot of these games? You tell me, Gerald. Am I overreacting that we start games like garbage, we start to come back in the middle of the game, and then we lose when it matters in the end? How many times have we talked about that?
Now, mind you, Joe, it was we're talking about scrubs against scrubs for that second half. So I don't know how much you could take away from it, but that first half should be more telling. Yes, no LeBron or AD, but they also didn't have Ant in there. So, you could take that for what it's worth. I just think, again, seeing how everything was matching up, the Lakers just did not play good defensively. They didn't have very much cohesion. They didn't communicate on defense. Those were some of the issues I had, and giving up almost 60 points in that first half really set them back, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, you're down 13 after one. You're down 9 at the half. Then you make a run, and then you kind of crap on it. And then in the end, you decide to put a non-NBA player in there to massage the asses, and it absolutely collapses. How does that set up? How does that make someone like Dalton Connect, who just arrived, feel tonight? I played my best. They quit a little bit at the end. I mean, what are you worried about? You worried about those guys getting injured? What are you worried about them getting injured for? Why not start now? Why not start in these games where you create that mode of, we want you to win. We want you to have that winning mentality. We want you to go out there, play hard, and show what you got and win. Start it now so that when you start the regular season, you're in shape mentally to want to win and win and win. These assholes pick and choose when they want to win. Just like that numbnuts Darvin Ham said all year last year. We saw the same thing tonight with a different coach. So when a cancer is festering, what do you do, Gerald, to get rid of the cancer? Do you continue to scrape around that cancer, replace a couple things from that cancer, or do you rip the whole motherfucking thing out to try to see if you can get rid of it?
It would be the latter is the most sound.
Right? Does it not make sense? Does it not make sense when you have a cancer, rip it the hell out so that you can start over? And then if it dies anyways, well, it's dead now. We're done. Now we start a new one. Now it's a new thing. It's dead. What was previous is dead now. Now someone else, something different. And it's gotta be, this has to be about winning. It always has to be about winning. And that's it. That's it. That's all I got to say on this. We went through all this dialogue on it, but really in the end, it's about winning. And I don't see the commitment to winning. All I see is a coach already whining and bickering with media people, asking them questions, dropping F-bombs in media sessions.
Before we head on out, Henry's asking an update on Corrupt. By the way, guys, Corrupt is Joe's fighting game, the fighting game that actually came out that he's helping to sponsor. It actually came out on Steam. If you get a chance, if you're a PC gamer and you like your fighting games, go ahead and download the free demo today for Corrupt. I'll put the link in the chat.
We are very, very happy with the response. So much so that the people who've finally kind of gotten a chance to play it, there's a massive uptake in terms of wish lists and people that have downloaded the game. They have begged us, many people have begged us not to take it off at the end of the weekend. So we have a surprise for everyone. Probably going to leave it on for a week, and then we might add another character into it. I probably should be saying this, but we're thinking about doing that.
JSJ, it should be compatible on the Steam Deck because, obviously it's the Steam Deck is native to the Steam software. So yeah, it should be. Yeah,
we haven't had any problems with rollback netcode, none of that stuff. Nothing, no lag. Everything's good. Everything.
Your netcode though,
well.
right?
Everything is going well right now. Yeah, absolutely. Now,
because with fighting games, it's netcode.
It is, and netcode
by
is
the way,
on point. Netcode's on point. The other part with fighting games, I equate the fighting game fan much like a Star Wars fan. You're probably wondering what the hell that means. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate it, brother. We're still there. We're still got a couple things to go, but we're getting there. The Star Wars fan, especially the last 15 years, will destroy whatever comes out. Oh, this thing sucks, and this thing's this, and this thing's that. And then I asked the question, well, how many times did you watch Last Jedi? 8 times. I'm like, what? Yeah, I watched it 8 times. I go, you went to the theater and watched it 8 times, and you hate it. Yes. I go, you do realize that you just dropped probably $160 on something you hate? They're going to keep making these movies, asshole. Why do you go to it 8 times? If you went 1 time, I was like, all right, you screwed up. At least when it comes to me, after The Force Awakens, I said, I'm never going to watch another Star Wars movie in the theater. And I haven't since. I go, I made a commitment. I'm like, I'm not going to support this. I want better movies. As soon as I got comfortable with Rogue, my brain's mush. What's it? Rogue something. Rogue One. Jeez. Rogue One is arguably my favorite Star Wars movie. I go, why can't they make it like this? This was freaking perfect. You bridge the gap between 3 and 4, and you made that stupid exhaust area make sense. Finally. The exhaust port, right? Where Luke, I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for somebody. Am I right, Gerald? Did they not bridge that plot hole? These geniuses. I mean, I still remember there was 2 things that I remember I was in the theater watching it. I was like, man, this movie did it. Number 1, the exhaust issue. The other, of course, is the end. When Vader went Vader.
Before we edit out, my friend, any final thoughts on today's game? Again, let's set aside the Bronny issue because we've already talked ad nauseum about him. The positives from today's game, offensively, Connect and Christie looked solid. JHS had his moments. Defensively, there's a lot of issues. The rebounding, Joe, is still an issue. There's also defensive transition issues I would also point to, and turnovers for something obviously they can fix as well. But again, it's just a first preseason game, so I don't want to make too much of it. Sunday's game, we'll be out there and checking it out again on playback. But any last thoughts on this before we head out and give shout outs to the members and what's coming up for Saturday as well?
As far as the last, I guess.
Oh, Henry's asking for an NFL lock this week. So
NFL lock this week. I was looking at the schedule today. I was thinking,
If you checked out Inside Sports Fantasy Football, it's actually on this channel. You can check out mine and Chris's thoughts. We picked a couple games. I have my doghouse of the week, and so did Chris. So Joe gets his turn now.
Lock of the week.
Rough.
I would
Steelers,
say I'm really feeling good about the Jaguars winning their first game this week.
Okay.
Jonathan, I don't know why I wanted to say Jonathan Stewart. Jonathan, running back for the Colts. Drawing a blank.
Taylor,
sorry. He's out.
Richardson's out.
And Richardson's out. So
But that might be bad because Joe Flacco did really good.
Yeah, well, Joe Flacco got some help from the refs during that game.
Okay. I'm just saying, Joe. I'm just saying, threw 2 touchdowns last
There
week.
was 3 blatant holds on TJ Watt. I mean, blatant holds on 3 drives, and I was just like, the NFL does not want TJ Watt to dominate the NFL. I don't know why, but it doesn't look like they want him to dominate. It's very sad. As bad as the Lakers are, I think the NFL and how they run their league is even worse. But the lock this week is the Jaguars.
Okay.
That's the one I feel pretty comfortable with. The last comment on tonight's game is the Lakers have shown that nothing's changed at this point. And it's too convenient that they played exactly the same way that they've played the last few years. Suck at the beginning, come back in the middle, still shit the bed at the end. This isn't something that's new. It's there whether LeBron or AD is playing, whether they're not playing, whether it connects on a team or not, whether JHS is healthy or not, whether Cam Reddish is not, which, by the way, I don't know what the hell he's doing not playing. What did he do this summer to not play? Whether Max Christie is going to play minutes or not, whether Rui's improved, whether Reeves is improved, whether he will improve, whether D'Lo will hit a shot. Nothing has changed, folks, after tonight. It looks exactly the same. So until things change on the court, I'm going to assume that the Lakers will be exactly who they are because leadership has already cemented and stamped that they don't give a shit about winning. And I will say this to every single one on that team. I never played in the NBA. I never played in high school. I played a lot of basketball in my life. Didn't play on my high school team. Didn't play in college. And my comment about playing at USC and scoring 5 points was a little brash. I probably would like to take that back. But it was good for the radio. It's good for the podcast.
It's good for the Google AI.
Absolutely. But there's no way you're going to convince me that this team isn't exactly what I'm calling it, because the results are right there in front of you.
2 quick questions before we head on out. First is from Henry. He was asking your thoughts on Jaden Daniels. As a long-suffering Redskin fan, he is.
So, Henry, I had predicted that Jaden Daniels would be the only quarterback in this draft that actually ends up becoming good. Everyone else is...
Or the Commanders, or whatever you want to call them.
Did I say Redskins?
Henry said Redskins, so
Okay,
that got me saying Redskins, and that got you saying Redskins.
Yeah. So Washington is this year's Texans. They got Jaden Daniels when the Bears probably should have gotten Jaden Daniels. However, and I know this is weird saying this for a Washington football team, Commanders / Redskins / whatever the fuck they call themselves. They got to get a better name too. Commanders is stupid. I'm pretty surprised that they've got some good stuff going over there. Because Washington isn't the model franchise either. They were screwing things up left and right too. Maybe they needed that idiot out of there long enough to where the new ownership started getting things turned over the way he needs to, and it looks like they just did. Looks like this year they are creating that new image. Maybe we're going to start seeing the old Joe Gibbs style winning Washington team. And, Dan Quinn wasn't a popular hire. The sad thing about Dan Quinn is he was just one bad decision by Matt Ryan from winning a Super Bowl. And right now, hopefully he can make amends with that. And he can coach for the next 10, 15 years now, should Jaden Daniels continue his improvements.
Before we head on out, Joe, one last thing, Lakers related. Joe, what is the first change that needs to happen if you were the coach?
First change?
Yes.
With this roster?
Yes.
Ugh.
Sunday Xbox, by the way, next game.
I don't know. There is a change.
Come on. If you were to change something, maybe in the lineup, maybe as far as
I guess you could put Connect in instead of Rui. At least with Connect, you might have better spacing with shooting. If Connect continues to shoot the way he was shooting today, and the way he shot, yeah, I'd say that's the one change that I might be looking at during the year. And then have Rui back up LeBron at the power forward position. Have him come off the bench.
Let everybody know, Phoenix is playing the Lakers on Sunday night at 6:30 p.m. U.S. Pacific time. We'll hopefully be up and running on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, and everything works right, which tonight it did. We'll go ahead and try and do the simulcast on YouTube and Facebook again. But truly appreciate everyone being out there. If you are a member, you get a shout out from me. I will go ahead and do it right now. Doobie, Raphael, Search and Destroy, Nija Americano, Narukami, Too Tall, The Legend 350, Weston, Moonlight Dreams, Remy, Retro 403, 7 Grand, Intel, Samir, JSJ, Kurt, Darren, Sports Baby, and Xbox. You guys are all awesome for being members. Again, $2.99 a month. Not only get emojis, you get badges. The longer you stay with us, you get different type of badges. And also as well, you get big shout outs and little notes on when we go live ahead of everyone else, and little extra stuff like that Mr. McMahon review I gave. I put on the Pop Culture Cosmos website, but you guys that were members saw it 48 hours before anyone else in the entire world. So little things like that. I will also be doing a Lakers write-up in the not too distant future that members will get first as well. All right.
I want to thank everyone for being here tonight for the first night of the Nightcap. I hope the energy didn't zap a lot of you. It looks like we had a pretty big crowd tonight.
Yeah, pretty good.
For those of you who are here for the first time, yes, there's a lot of venom that gets spewed on here every now and then, but there are times, especially after wins, where we're a little bit more happy and a little bit more jolly. We are an acquired taste, if there ever was a show to be an acquired taste. We are totally organic. We are not bought. We cannot be sold. We cannot be told what to do. It's probably why it's harder for you to get to the top when you're not under the thumb of some authoritative piece of shit. So, and that's going to continue. That'll always be there. I will never, ever work for anyone in my life. And I will never, ever work under the thumb of anyone in a podcast. So with that, thank you for being here tonight. We will be back.
But tomorrow, the Lakerholics at 11 a.m. The Lakerholics from Lakerholics.com will be on the show at 11 a.m. Joe.
Okay. And we will be back on Sunday. I might chime in as a chat patron tomorrow.
When Laker Tom says something crazy?
Well, I mean, like saying that Laker Tom says something crazy is just Laker Tom saying something. But but we will be back on Sunday. Sunday's going to be pretty tight for me because I'll be watching the Steelers and the Cowboys on the late game, late evening Sunday night game on NBC. but it looks like the game, and I'll have a dual show in my house.
JY and Darren, thank you for your super chats tonight. Truly appreciate it. Very kind of you, and it's always greatly appreciated from us here.
I'll be doing the simulcast on my TV, watching the Steelers and then watching the Phoenix Suns play the Lakers. And then the game starts early as far as the football game. So that'll finish before the Lakers finish, which means we'll run right into our post-game show, and we'll see what the Lakers have in store. We'll see what improvements they've made from tonight's game, if any, and see if they can maybe have a little bit of focus on winning a little bit. So with that, thank you again for tonight. Gerald, thank you for coming back, and thanks, John Costa. Thank you, Henry, for showing up in our first real 2024-2025 show. And until next time, we'll see you next time.